Welcome back to Australia Mania. It's the only wrestling podcast called Australia Mania. And it's the only 7-star rated podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Needs. As always, joined by Michael Thompson.
I don't want to talk to Yang right now. Hi, Ricky. How are you?
I'm good. And David Yang.
I just don't want to talk then.
Come on, boys.
If that's how we're gonna fucking start it, Michael.
I have to walk.
If that's how you're gonna fucking start it.
This is an audio medium, boys. We do need some
Yep.
talking.
We do need some talking.
Just because, you know, I'm just going to turn your mics down because you're both a little bit hot right now, and I'm calm.
You're nice and smooth, which is
good.
all right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AJ Styles is the most boringest person in the history of the universe.
Why are we continuing
Fucking
this?
fight me on it, Michael. Fucking fight me on it.
Well, if you guys head to our YouTube channel very, very shortly, Ricky's going to put up the video. There was a walkout during the predictions.
God.
And you'll see why, from what Yang has just said, there was a certain walkout about a certain superstar.
I will defend Yang in the fact that he didn't say that AJ Styles was a bad wrestler. He said that he was a boring person.
Am I muted?
No.
I'm not muted?
No.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what Ricky said. You got hot because you fucking thought I said he's a shit wrestler. Not once. It's blasphemous to call him a shit wrestler.
Told you,
I just said he's a boring person. He's a boring person. And because I now know that he's a boring person, you can even tell it in his promo work. And yeah, we can sit back and go, yeah, all right, it's the creative fault.
It is
creative's
fault.
Creative's fault.
It is creative's fault.
I guess, you know, you just deliberately give him boring scripts. No, he's just a boring person who can't carry a subscript and make it great. That's what makes great promo guys great. They get the shit that they get given and make it good. AJ can't do that. He's so boring. He's so boring.
You are a panel operator's worst nightmare right now.
Yeah. Now you know how I feel having to deal with this on a weekly basis, you know? Do you feel my pain now?
I don't even know if that's like usable because it was peaking off the fucking charts.
Do you understand my pain now?
I do. I've panel operated. I know what it's like. It's shit.
It is.
But yeah, that was peaking off the charts
I could,
the entire time. So.
Shall I start with the news?
Oh, sure, go for it.
Rey Mysterio's reign as WWE champion has been more memorable than AJ Styles'
Shut up.
current one.
David Yang with the hottest of hot takes, as always.
Speaking of hot takes, this is what's happening in news over the course of the last couple of hours. I'll send you the music, by the way, for this as well. So probably started off with Mike Kanellis. Now, we want to know where Mike Kanellis has gone.
Oh, was he finally released?
No, this is what Mike Kanellis tweeted out. He got a Twitter Q&A, and he basically asked if you're interested in switching brands or going to NXT. Mike Kanellis tweeted out saying, I'd love to go to NXT. I just want to work and wrestle. Do you think that maybe NXT was a good starting point for Mike Kanellis? Do you think it was...
Yes, I'm actually genuinely shocked he debuted on the main roster.
I was going to say, do you think it was a bit too premature to sign him up for SmackDown straight away? Do you think they sort of jumped the boat a bit with him?
Do you reckon they signed him or they signed Maria and then he was just the package?
I think they signed Maria and they had him as the package for that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Yeah.
In other sad news as well, Mauro Ranallo will not be calling TakeOver Chicago. He's already got some commitments with Showtime Boxing. Apparently, there's a triple header in Dallas on Sunday, or Saturday night, which is where TakeOver is happening in Chicago. But he has tweeted out saying that Vic Joseph, Nigel McGuinness, and Percy Watson are the call team. Vic Joseph, you would know from 205 Live. He also does Superstars and Main Event as well. Not doing a bad job on 205 Live, in my opinion. Vic Joseph, he's got some pretty big shoes to fill, though, with the Mamma Mias and the yelling and screaming. This is the passion in his voice, but I know that he could definitely do that. Also, good news, guys. Some details on the new WWE 2K19 game is about to be unveiled this Monday as well. So we'll know more about WWE 2K19, which is yet again another one for the 2K series. They do
Predictions for cover artists, go.
I think Rollins.
He was last year.
He was last year, you fucking idiot.
Two
Shut up.
in a row. I don't
think
see that happening.
I think
AJ.
Reigns.
Reigns was like 2 years ago.
As much as I think that he's the boringest person in the history of the universe,
They don't
AJ
often
Styles.
repeat.
Or Brock.
I was thinking Brock, but they've already done Brock.
Brock
Yeah.
was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Then again, Brock was on Here Comes the Pain as well.
Yeah, but that was like, wait, how many years was that? Like 12 years in between, in between drinks? I will say...
Maybe Rousey?
Oh.
Ooh. Not bad. Actually, I would like do like Rousey, Jax, Sasha.
Yeah?
I'd be down with that.
You do both the male and female cover. Like they've 2K done multiple covers.
Well, no, I could, I could some.
What about Bella, Banks, Rousey, and someone else?
Wow, put over Raw some more.
Most marketable trio in wrestling right now that aren't called the Elite, New Day.
Yeah, good moment.
Actually, I'd be happy
I could see him doing New Day on the cover. And
anyway,
up, down, down.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Which is really good.
Keep going. News.
Also to speak as well. So Reigns also, according to Sports Illustrated, Reigns may transition away from Mahal and return to the Universal Championship picture for the next night on Raw. Initial rumors suggested that ex-WWE champions will keep feuding throughout the summer until SummerSlam. However, WWE have been booking Reigns in a way that makes it look like a title bid was sabotaged by management at the Greatest Royal Rumble during his steel cage match against Brock Lesnar. I know, it's shit.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Rumor has it that ex-Shield star may be thrown Universal Champion at SummerSlam on August 19th. The details behind Lesnar's contract are unknown, but a return to UFC after the summer can't be ruled out. So apparently rumors are that Brock might still be heading over to UFC to return because his one-year suspension is also up. There's also been talk that apparently Ronda Rousey could potentially be going over in her match against Nia Jax with the possible sides. Rousey is apparently inviting friends and family to the event, and they would love to see the belt on her as well as a bit of a feel-good moment as well in front of her family and friends in Chicago as well. And that's what's been making news in the last 24 to 48 hours. Back to you, Rick.
Cool. Yeah, do you reckon it's too soon for Rousey?
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm hot, man.
You are. Yeah. No shit.
It's because your voice.
It's just your.
It's just your voice.
It's your headphone volume. As
Oh,
well.
okay.
You're pretty good on here, actually.
All right.
You were peaking a lot. before.
No, it's not too soon for Rousey.
Yeah,
No.
I think like if I just want to see her versus Sasha.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like if they can start working that towards SummerSlam. Oh, that's a big match. That's a big.
It'd be a good
big,
money
big,
match
big,
as
big.
well. A lot of people
Oh,
be vested interest in that
yes.
feud as well. But
That gets you the casual fan for Rousey and the hardcore for Sasha Banks
Yeah.
instantly. Like that's the big market share they want. They want to get both. That's the way you do both. Like
But-
Nia Jax isn't a hardcore favorite or a casual favorite, so
if we think that though, where to for Nia Jax post Rousey and the Women's Championship?
it seems like she's heading back towards the heel route. So I would love to see her team up with the Riot Squad as the enforcer.
Ooh, actually, I don't mind that actually.
And
That's
then-
high-key meant to be Sarah Logan's spot, though.
Yeah,
They're
but
just not
is
booking her that way.
Yeah, I know. It's literally just Ruby Riott and then just two gaggling cronies. It's, did you see him on fucking Raw? This like
Yeah,
doing
no,
the,
but I
doing
think
the,
that's
doing the NWO bloody like.
It's a
backstage.
phenomenal gimmick, though. Like,
no, it is. It
Yeah,
is.
it's
But-
Ruby Riott, a ditzy blonde,
Yeah.
hey.
and a Southerner woman who talks about steaks and going, back in the way I live,
And
I
her
do this.
pawpaw.
Yeah.
She very much
Yeah.
loves her pawpaw.
She does.
Yeah.
Don't stiff Liv Morgan.
Nah, she's-
Ditzy blonde. Don't stiff Liv Morgan.
I could.
Yeah, we have
I can stick
Alexa,
Mandy Rose.
Alexa Bliss for that. How you doing, Yang?
How you doing?
Hey man, she was giving Braun the fuck eyes on.
She
on
was.
that, on that ladder.
She was.
I love
How
it.
is
I
Corey
love
Graves?
it.
We've never started Raw like this before. 2 years ago, mate. Exactly the same, except there was no women on the fucking ladders.
How would Murphy feel knowing that?
Would you just look like back in history for one fucking like? God damn it, WWE! You frustrate the fuck out of me.
I'll say this though about Bliss giving Braun the fuck eyes. How would you feel if you're Murphy watching it go, oh fuck, my fiance is in love with a 385-pound man who
She's
loves
about-
lifting weights
She's
and
about
eating
to get
steaks?
that dick.
Are you kidding me, dude? If I look like Buddy Murphy, I wouldn't have a fucking problem in the world.
Yeah, good point. He's a handsome looking man.
He's done well, Buddy Murphy as
Dude
well.
is fucking stacked, man.
that
dude is fucking
that injury
stacked.
layoff was a good thing for him as well.
Yeah, dude, he's honestly,
He
he
is.
does not deserve to be on 205. He deserves main.
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know who else has also done really well for the Australian side as well, physique-wise? TM61. They're looking a lot better and a lot stronger in the ring as well. For
They'll
NXT.
just never translate over though.
No.
I think there's a problem there.
I think that there is a real issue there with how they translate.
Yeah.
I actually think they're one of those ones that like doesn't translate that well on NXT, but actually could translate pretty well on main. I think given the right gimmick. Or
no,
given-
because if we're looking at the Iconics as another example, we're still
they're
yet
not
to.
doing too bad.
They're not doing too bad.
Like the
but
fact that
they
they've
were
come up.
great on NXT.
Oh,
though.
yeah,
they
But
were.
that's the thing. They're great on NXT, but now they're not doing too bad.
Yeah.
TM61 are probably not doing too bad on
could-
NXT.
It honestly could be a lot worse. You could be Apollo Crews. Like that's
Yeah.
about as bad as it gets. Like
Yeah.
the fact that they're in the main event, not the picture, but like in the main event storyline.
And then what? Now you think you bring them up as a tag team too? They've just bought up 3 tag teams from NXT, and none of them,
and all of them are heels.
all of them are heels,
Yeah.
and none of them are on the card.
No, that's a good point. Well, actually, do you hear the reason that Authors of Pain and Sanity haven't shown up yet is because they brought them up solely for the tag team Money in the Bank match and then got scrapped. And now they're just in like main roster.
Yeah, no. Fair
Also
enough.
because Vince doesn't like tag teams. He hates
Well,
them,
but they had this whole thing planned out. They had 3 briefcases at one point, and then they just scrapped it without like a second
which
thought.
sucks.
It does, because I would have loved to have seen a tag team Money in the Bank match. Like the amount of creative shit you could have done, and the best thing in the world is you
don't
know
over
you could've-
gimmick the gimmick.
I know. But like, think about it. Tag team Elimination Chamber was awesome.
It was.
War Games, awesome.
Oh, they need to bring that up for the main roster.
I just think like the amount of creative stuff you can do with like 2 people on a team with ladders.
But you're
involved.
saying awesome because they're the once-offs, though, right?
I know.
First women's Money in the Bank, awesome. Are we going to be saying that in 5 years from now when the women's Money in the Bank, not Money in the Bank, rather, I meant Royal Rumble,
Yeah.
right? With first women's Royal Rumble, phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do that again. For one, you can't have that much star power go back into it.
No.
You just lose the pop if Trish Stratus came in at 30 every single time.
That's a good point.
Right? Dude, this is what I'm saying. The Elimination Chamber tag team was a once-off.
Yeah.
Right? And it was great. But you're not looking at this going, I have a sample size of 5 others to choose from and going, this is a great gimmick.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, don't over-gimmick the gimmick of the Money in the Bank thing.
All right, what about this? Tag team Money in the Bank.
And I think they realise that too.
You run it every 2 years because there's 2 people. No?
Unnecessary. It's just unnecessary.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you what,
look, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
But
it's just unfortunate you called up 2 really, really good tag teams.
Only for
right?
them to be
and
then-
but your only storyline for them was that. And
yeah.
now it's been over a month and you haven't been able to scrounge up another storyline, especially in the tag divisions that are happening now.
Yeah.
Like, I've honestly forgotten that fucking Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt were tag champions.
Well, they're
considering Authors of Pain are on Raw.
Well, they're
and
placeholders
Revival. Huh?
I said they're placeholders for the Authors of Pain because the Authors of Pain are going to come in.
Yeah.
and
Well, because
basically-
they're also on the Money in the Bank card that we've got the predictions for. They're in the undercard. They're defending it against B Team.
Oh yeah.
do we care?
Delete.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Deleters of Worlds.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, I know.
when they won the belts, it was still kind of right? And now they've literally done. They haven't appeared on TV unless it's been to just spook B Team.
They haven't 100%. Like I think
They're not even sold on it.
Yeah, like no, I think like WWE hasn't 100% bought into the gimmick, and that's making those 2 guys. I think like
They've never bought into Matt Hardy's gimmick.
no,
And I know we've discussed this, and I said it before, and look, and now it's starting to seem very right. I knew the gimmick wouldn't translate well, and it obviously wasn't the fault of Matt. It did take too long to get the gimmick on TV, and at that point, it was done. The WWE marketplace is too saturated.
The Ultimate
it
Deletion
needs
was
to be a
great, though.
way. Yeah, whatever, it was fine, right? But like, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't going to last very long term, and I think separating Jeff from Matt was an understanding that it wasn't meant to be so long.
yeah.
It was an understanding from WWE, and it should have been the most clearest of signs to everyone saying they don't even believe in this full time to give it its proper dues of having Brother Nero and Woken Matt. It was just Woken Matt.
Speaking of Jeff Hardy as well, there was rumors that Jeff was supposed to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but because of his DUI, he's not going to do that. I did post a question to you guys on Messenger during the week.
God, he's also US champion. Have we forgotten about that as well?
Yeah. It's why I'm leading to it. Who's he dropped the belt to? Because I know WWE want to suspend him, but they're not going to suspend him now while he's got the US title belt. They'll wait until after he's dropped it. And Ricky said Brian would be the first person they probably drop the belt to.
They're not going to put him in the main event picture right now. He still hasn't re-signed. He's still. I don't know whether he's holding off negotiations or whether he
Was it one of you boys that brought it up that he's in his new contract he's asking for full creative?
Not too sure. Is that something that he's
Yeah, in his
that's one
next
thing.
contract, he is asking for full creative control of his booking. One person from memory has only ever gotten that, and that was Hulk Hogan.
No, 2.
Two?
Bret Hart as
Bret
well.
Hart as well?
Bret
oh,
Hart.
God. Yeah, where'd that go? All
Well,
right.
actually, Daniel Bryan has also put that in his contract as well. He wants full creative control.
What did I literally just say?
Yeah. No, I thought. No,
What did I literally
Sorry.
just say?
I zoned out for it. I thought you said Jeff Hardy, but yeah, Bryan. Yeah, I think I told you that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought
Yeah.
one of you guys brought it
Yeah,
up.
Fuck,
I mentioned that one.
I'd nearly give it to him.
No.
do
If a
you-
2011 CM Punk in his negotiations couldn't get full creative control, then a fragile Daniel Bryan should not even whiff at it. There's no way you'd give up such a power like that. If I'm WWE and Daniel Bryan's come up to me and gone, I'm not re-signing
Okay,
unless it's
okay.
full creative control, I'd go, okay.
Of all
Go.
people, I think that it would.
Brock doesn't even have it.
Triple H didn't even have it.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, like all those names that you just said, what comes along with those guys? An ego the size of fucking MetLife Stadium. With Brian, I see it as a guy who understands very much so, because he's been in the system for so long, the way WWE does things. The fact that he hung around with the company even after his injury, had the on-screen role as GM, got cleared, came back. He's the kind of guy I think that would see him getting full creative control as a way to...
A thank you.
Not a thank you, but a way to, like, put over his character in the way that he knows that the fans want to see him. Not necessarily giving himself championship after championship. I don't think that's what drives him.
No,
I think what drives him is...
No, and I think out of respect to Daniel Bryan, if he did get full creative control, he's not a selfish piece of shit to go.
Exactly.
All right.
I think he would handle... I think all I think he would
But that's
really
what I'm
do-
saying. When we talk about full creative control, this is the thing, right? We're not behind the scenes on the fucking contract signings. We don't know the proper terms that go into this.
No.
When you say the term full creative control, obviously he gets an idea of how he books his own gimmick, right?
Yeah.
And he would get a huge say in how the matches worked. But surely he doesn't choose finish. Surely that is not in his realm of creative control, where it's like
It was,
Daniel Bryan.
it was in Hogan's.
Huh?
It was
But
in
that
Hogan.
is so difficult, though. But Yates
No,
is
but
completely different
I
now.
think Daniel Bryan knows, and you go back and look at like his days in Ring of Honor, PWG, all that sort of shit. He knew.
But that means he gets full
knew
creative control
when-
of every single person he ever works over.
Yeah, but I he's the
That
kind
is-
of he's the kind of guy that would you could trust him. I think to be like, all right, he's gonna know when to put a guy over. He's
Yeah,
gonna
but
know
it's
when
not
to go-
about trust, though.
Yeah.
Like in this situation.
I'm just saying, like I understand.
It's
like,
another person's career that's now in his hands.
yeah, I know, and that's
And that's not something they should ever do.
And
it's the company.
I'm going to add to Yang's point as well. With Hogan in his creative control, he would not falter to anyone who weighed less than 275
yeah,
pounds,
but
which is what Hogan
Hogan's
did.
a fucking egomaniac.
But that just shows you where it can go. And I'm not saying Daniel
No.
Bryan's like that, where
No,
he's just
no.
like,
I know.
I refuse to lose to guys who are over 7 foot. Ergo, I'm never going to work with Big Cass again.
But-
right? So it's like, that's
Nor should he.
no, but that's not fair to the other guy.
I know.
Right? That's what I'm saying. You give full creative control to a guy like that, it's immediately every single person he ever works with now has in his power. Where Daniel Bryan goes, all right, we're going to do it this way, this way, this way, and I get the 3. Right? Or it goes this way, this way, this way, and you get the win. But I get the win 2 matches from now. It's like, yeah, that's great how you can work it, and anyone can do that, right? But to give that power to one of the guys is wrong.
If they were going to do it, he's the only person I'd be moderately happy with him doing it.
I'll play devil's advocate and agree here that if Brian does get full creative control, I think he wants to sort of make sure that the aspect of his character is utilized a lot better.
Yeah. You can, but that's not full creative control. Then don't
No.
give him full.
But but
give him just gimmick control.
But I think with matches as well, I think Brian sort of wants to call some certain spots he wants for the each
honestly,
matches.
look,
Maybe he just wants
it
control over his promos.
yeah, all right. Let's look at this now.
And
Then
I could 100% understand that.
here's how we can look at it. Then we
Yeah.
can look at this plea from Daniel Bryan saying, "I want full creative control." He won't get it, right? But it could be an ushering and a beginning of a movement for where wrestlers now will stand up and go, we want to book matches
Maybe-
the way we work them.
maybe
Not
this is-
finishes, but matches.
Yeah.
Give us creative control over that.
Yeah.
Because now you're looking at guys over in New Japan, right? And it's Meltzer said it about a week ago where he came out and he goes, I can't watch Raw now because I just watched Super Juniors and I watched Dominion.
Dude, I struggled
The
this week.
indie crowd, and we got people like, we got All In selling out and we have other shows being booked for the Garden.
Oh, yeah.
WWE isn't the powerhouse that they want. It's not to say that they're not number one. They're by and far number one.
Hell
All right, and they'll never drop to number 2. But it's shaky ground for someone like New Japan, whose target market is Japan, and second is America. Before, it wouldn't be too hard, and it seems to be where they're going, to just snap their fingers and go, let's make a heavy push now into the Americas, and they would genuinely cause a disruption. Talent in the WWE does watch the shit that happens in New Japan.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
they 100% watch what happens on the Indies. And they must be shaking in their boots going, if shit continues going down this way, where we can't be allowed to put on Match of the Night, despite the fact that Prince Devitt was one of the greatest people in New Japan, despite the fact that Seth Rollins as Tyler Black or whatever in Ring of Honor was phenomenal. These guys are physically phenomenal to do the stuff that Kenny Omega is doing. It's not to say that we're stiffing Kenny Omega going, he's a 7-star guy and no one else can do it. It goes, no, he's a guy who's much like Seth Rollins in every aspect of his wrestling ability.
He's given the freedom.
But he's given the freedom.
Yep.
He's given the freedom to go out there and book a match that can go on for with a timer.
65 minutes.
65 minutes. No, I was saying, all they get given is a finish and time. They might book maybe one or two big spots that they would like to see in terms of narrative, but aside from that, it goes whatever.
Like I would actually like to know like how hands-on Gato is compared to like Vince McMahon.
Yeah, but Vince McMahon.
Gato is the guy. It's like Vince Russo back in the Attitude Era. There's one guy there booking shit.
Yeah.
It's him.
And he can do that because it's just New Japan. They only have 4 big shows a year and they don't do much weeklies, from my understanding. It's like one guy can realistically book that, right? But now we're looking at WWE and it's like, we get the machine. We get it. It's not easy for... Whilst Vince McMahon wants to have creative control over everything, he just can't. There's too much he has to juggle. So then your next best is to hire the bunch of the producers that they're doing now and giving control to the producers, going producers book the match, or just give it to the wrestlers.
Well, you look at NXT, the takeover from WrestleMania. They actually released the producer list of who.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Shows. You can pretty much tell that Triple H has he's the guy. He's the Vince McMahon of NXT, obviously.
Yeah,
but he has the trust in the guys below him.
Yeah.
To be like, okay. And like you saw that like the one of the match he didn't book, but he put the little like note or whatever. It was like make sure Ricochet shows off his aerial skills. That's a Triple H note. But that's all he's pretty much said. That whoever produced that match, I can't remember who it was.
Triple H very much is
Shawn
adopting
Michaels
to how they used to do it and how New Japan does it now.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was like, all right, just trust your producers. They're all going to like design different types of matches. Like I'm pretty sure that one was Shawn Michaels and someone else put that one together.
Yeah.
The fact that Shawn Michaels is booking matches is just, I love it.
It's good to have him down at the Performance Center too as a trainer.
Yeah. And he's going to be at the UK tournament. I'm so fucking keen for that.
Because he's taken over from Roy Regal, who's currently undergoing a bit of health issues himself, which is why he's been off screen at the moment.
But if we have to come full circle back to what this whole Daniel Bryan thing is, right?
Yeah.
And we go, let's not look at this in terms of Daniel Bryan actually legitimately wanting to get full creative control, but more or less as a step forward for wrestlers in general to ask for that ability to do stuff now.
Do you think this is just like, when you're bargaining something and you
no, that's classic bargaining.
You overreach.
Yeah, I said that.
And then you get that.
It's the high ball, but you don't expect to get it.
Yeah.
But you ask for it. That way, what you eventually get is what you actually wanted.
Yeah.
So Daniel Bryan, if I was the businessman Daniel Bryan, I ask for the stupid and go, give me full creative control, to get the obvious no and just go, well, can I at least get booking my match booking? And they go, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Right. And then he becomes the producer of his match.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's where wrestlers need to start going towards. And
look,
if there was a union in WWE, that would be where the big push is now.
Yeah.
Give us back control of how we work the match. All we want is a finish, because in terms of like narrative going forward, all they need to know is where it ends.
Yeah.
And the big key moments to get there. So if a story can realistically be booked by Vince McMahon to go 3 months, and all you have to do is be like, okay, we want to tell this story, we want you to go over, and we want to see these 2 things or whatever. Aside from that, whatever you do in the ring, make sure you do what it sells to get to that point. That's where the creativity and that's where you're hiring these guys for. You're hiring these guys because they can wrestle, but you're hiring these guys because they're storytellers. They're artists. Yeah. Right, that's why guys like Shinsuke and Finn Balor are like, they're so underutilized, because they were initially bought in because of what they could do back in New Japan in terms of telling a story with their wrestling, because they had the freedom to do it. They came over here in NXT, they did show it, but now they're force fed into scripted matches that are roughly 90% already told for them, and then that 10% is like the last 3 minutes before the match.
It feels like they're shackled.
They're very much shackled.
100%. Like
right?
it's hard to, and
it's evident now because we are watching something like New Japan.
Yeah.
Whereas 5 years ago we weren't. They were still as shackled as they are, but they didn't have a comparison. But now there is a competitive comparison now in New Japan, where their shows are selling out. Where guys like Chris Jericho are noticing it too, right? And going over there and doing signs, because he knows, and he's on record for saying, I like doing New Japan shows because I get the freedom to do how I want to work.
Yeah.
Right?
And he gets to swear on live TV.
Yeah, but that's where he gets the freedom. He's not shackled, but he still loves WWE, and he'll still put Vince over as a businessman. Yeah. But he understands that the movement in wrestling now is back to wrestler freedom.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's what we.
I'm
I think that's what
saying.
we.
And that's what we're seeing
That's
now
what we
with Daniel
need.
Bryan.
Yeah, yeah. I think like he's a guy that I feel like he has that itch to go back, like to go to Japan, to go back to Ring of Honor, to go back and do a PWG show.
And that's why he
like,
hasn't re-signed yet, because he's probably weighing up his options of,
Yeah.
should I go back to PWG? Should I go back to Ring of Honor? Should I do stuff in New Japan like Chris Jericho's done?
And 100%, I would not put it past me that like Super Dragon from PWG hasn't picked up the phone. Ring of Honor hasn't picked up the phone. Even Gato might have picked up the phone at some point and just like be like, hey, what are you planning?
Because he'd probably go back to his American Dragon gimmick if he did go back on the independent
Man,
scene.
if he came out as American Dragon in New Japan,
He would go back under
That would
Bryan
be
Danielson,
so
the American Dragon
good.
Bryan Danielson, for those things.
yeah,
I do want to move on to someone who's been gaining a bit of notoriety with his promos and his wrestling as well.
yeah,
Formerly known as Solomon Crow, Sami Callihan.
yeah.
He's done quite a lot. I like this guy. I really do. Sami Callihan reminds me so much of Cody Rhodes from, last year. Last year, Cody Rhodes had a massive 2017. 2018's become the year of Sami Callihan. He had that infamous botch with Eddie Edwards on Impact where he almost broke Eddie Edwards' neck, almost paralyzing him. Then he's had a heated exchange with Bubba Ray Dudley recently as well, saying, I don't work. Apparently he was going to have an interview with Bubba Ray on his podcast, and Bubba Ray was going to ask him these sort of questions, and Sami Callihan turned around and said, hey, dude, I don't work like that. He even said that he wants to use the baseball bat as his gimmick, and people said, have you asked Sting for it? He said, I would be Sting 100%, but Sting more violent. He's also recently called out Chris Jericho and Ring of Honor, saying that I would beat both of you guys. You bring your Ring of Honor guys, Chris Jericho, you think you're the best independent wrestler right now? Fight me. Fight me and I'll prove to you. And recently as well, him and Eddie Edwards had a unsanctioned fight in the woods on Impact, which was really, really good as well. So definitely go check that one out as well.
Fighting in the woods.
Fighting in the woods.
TNA, ladies and gentlemen.
Sami Callihan, what do we think of him, and how much more has he evolved with his character since being released as Solomon Crow from NXT? I think Sami Callihan, as similar done to Cody Rhodes, what happened post WWE, he's thriving in the independent circuit. So how much more can Sami Callihan's stock go up now because of all this infamy and all this notoriety that he's suffering right now with his character as well as himself?
I don't watch TNA.
I was literally, you took the words right out of my fucking mouth.
But you've seen
Look,
I know the guy. I
but
know
you've
what he
seen some
did.
of the video
if
stuff.
he can get himself booked on Jericho's cruise, good on him. If that's what he's aiming for, like if he's,
I think he's aiming for that.
I mean, if he's calling out TNA and Ring of Honor and that, it feels like he's looking for a door out of TNA to me. Like, why go out of your way if you've got a stable job? I know I know TNA talent can now go out and do independent shows and stuff. They're not shackled to TNA full time. So
Do you think that maybe New Japan will be next for Sami Callihan?
no.
You don't think he'll thrive in New Japan?
For New Japan, you got to get established in Ring of Honor first in the States because they got the working relationship.
Yeah.
I know they're starting to get, because they're like, obviously Ishimori, Bone Soldier, came across from TNA and he'd have to go back to TNA to finish his dates before he goes to New Japan full time. But that's like because he was on excursion. But no one really has made the jump from TNA to New Japan unless you're a young lion on excursion. It's all going through Ring of Honor. So I think he's trying to get himself booked to the Jericho cruise because the Ring of Honor crew is going to be there. Gets himself in with Ring of Honor, starts getting shows booked with them,
And
moves away from TNA.
Even some
starts to
Impact
work.
talent are being booked for the Jericho cruise as well, because Jericho and Don Callis are best friends, and they've worked together exclusively for that deal as well.
Yeah, but I know you love TNA, but there's no way that, especially after the way a lot of New Japan talent has been treated in TNA, they ain't looking at TNA. 100%, they're just skipping it.
But do you think Sami Callihan could go to Ring of Honor, but then potentially go to New Japan?
Yeah, if he
And
goes
build
that
his
route.
stock up a bit more.
if he skips out of TNA and goes to Ring of Honor, then he can start to move towards.
Is he booked for All In?
Sami Callihan, not yet, no.
No, there's no TNA talent booked for All In. It's all Ring of Honor and other independents.
And the one thing I like as well about Sami Callihan too, really quickly, is he's the head of High versus Everything of the Chris Brothers. The Chris Brothers did some really good work in CCW and a few other independent circuits as well. He's become that ringleader for them as well. And just how violent his characters become as well. It's sort of reminiscent of his days in CCW, of the days when, you know, it was him, I think John Moxley, also known as Dean Ambrose, I think they had a few good matches in CCW together. So I think he's trying to bring out that side of him as well. And we talked about wrestlers being shackled. I feel like that
Fuck, I miss Dean.
now that
I do too, dude. Honestly, I was thinking about it the other day. I genuinely miss Dean Ambrose.
And I think with Sami Callihan as well, I think he was really shackled with the way he could develop his character in NXT, which is why he's gone out now.
The Solomon Crow character was garbage.
It was.
It's terrible.
But it was up to him. He would have, you know, the Sami Callihan character in NXT. But
Look,
probably see it's too violent, though, unfortunately.
This is what wrestlers need to do, is they need to go out there on their own. And like that's the thing with social media now. Social media is so powerful when it comes to especially independent wrestlers. And if you want to get anywhere, you got to have a presence. You got to be, you know, making waves on there. Like look at the book flip movement. The book flip movement has been entirely done through Twitter and being the elite. And like there's no chance in hell he's not going to be at All In, even if he just like rocks up.
You say that though, I honestly reckon he won't be.
Really?
For the pure gimmick of it. For the pure gimmick, because you get
I-
worked, man.
no.
You get work.
I would actually love if at some point of being the elite, Cody bought him a ticket.
Yeah, but like he won't appear on the card.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it'll be like, well, we've done everything. I guess you
Yeah.
can just buy a fucking ticket.
But they just like or like the Bucks buy him a ticket is like, sorry man, you can't be there, but we'll get you a front row seat. And then like
Yeah.
like whatever if it is broadcast, which fuck I hope it's broadcast, it just keeps shooting to him in the front row, just being like
Yeah, you give us the
The
John Cena WrestleMania
the
treatment.
earth is flat. Yeah, just doing the wave, smiling. But yeah, like that's like good on him. Good on him for trying to get out there because like I feel that like I said, I know you love TNA, but it just feels like it's a fucking roadblock for a lot of independent wrestlers because unfortunately it still has that negative connotation.
Yep.
After years and years of poor booking and poor management behind the scenes, not paying your wrestlers, the initial relationship they had with New Japan and how that fell apart after treatment of a lot of New Japan talent.
And it was a shame, though, because 10 years ago, it was a fantastic working relationship between TNA and New Japan Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
because when we...
Yeah, then they fucked the Carter up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they're not going to do that for that reason
Yeah,
alone.
He's
He's their ace.
They
'Cause they had-
fucked up.
they had two
now
January
the
4
greatest
shows.
talent in the world.
Yeah. The guy just got 7 stars.
Yeah. Like that's just
Yeah. Like, they had two...
He's essentially a jobber on TNA.
They had two, collaboration shows for January 4 10 years ago where TNA talent will go over to New Japan and wrestle them and all that. Kurt Angle wrestled in the main event, defending the world title over in Japan as well, and it was apparently a really good match.
Yeah. It's a shame that it went down that way.
But I think for Sami Callihan, if he can get out of Impact and go to Ring of Honor, who knows?
Hope he does.
Who knows what he could do with his character? But right now, I just want to put him over really quickly on how fantastic his character's been and what he's been able to do in Impact. And hopefully, if he can do that beyond Impact and the Jericho Cruise, and if he gets into Ring of Honor, then we can finally hopefully see next year or maybe, late 2019, him go to New Japan and all that, and then just see his character develop into this monster, this vicious character. It'd be good to see what he can do with it.
How big is he?
Sami Callihan.
Yeah.
Physically or?
Yeah, like physically.
Oh, okay.
Like is he a guy that could like bump down to a junior if he like dropped a bit of weight, or is he like a bigger, more important? I can't remember how he was at Solomon Crow.
He's
not a jacked guy from what I can remember.
He's 94. He's 207, so he could go as a junior.
Yeah,
He's 5'8", 207 pounds.
Oh, 5'8", 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if he does all the right things in the next 12 months, he could get booked for Best of Super Juniors next year.
Yeah. And
So-
the fans would pop for Sami Callihan if he came out for the Best of Super Juniors.
Yeah. I think
they would pop,
They would pop.
or is it just your subjective opinion?
I think they'll pop.
I
He's getting a lot of love on social
if he
media.
is working towards getting himself booked for the Jericho Cruise, then 100% get around him. Yeah, good on him for self-promoting.
Yeah.
That's what wrestlers need to do these days. And if he's making waves, especially with Jericho, how hot Jericho is right now, good on him.
And it also begs the question as well whether Jericho is going to have a few dates with Impact as well,
I don't see that happening.
moving down the line, or if it's just
I do not see that happening.
He's the fucking New Japan IC champion.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
going to be working with Impact. No. And Jericho's actually...
Even he knows that's below him.
Yeah, Jericho's come out very recently when he talked about the relationship he has with Vince and currently working with New Japan. He's very, 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 very particular with the matches he picks up and the bookings he does.
Oh, hell yeah.
Not only does he command a paycheck in 6 figures every time he wrestles.
Yeah.
But he's doing so now for his own gimmick as well.
Yeah.
Right? To put himself over in his own personal brand. There is no way Jericho works All In. And for starters, he also said he's never working anything in America that isn't WWE. He's turned down a lot of the New Japan stuff that does appear in America. He's turned down All In and he's turned down Ring of Honor.
Because of his relationship with WWE.
Yeah,
for
literally
the last
what he
2
said.
decades.
Literally what he
Yeah,
said. He
it
goes,
was-
it would be insulting to Vince and WWE if I worked any other promotion in America.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why, because they announced a couple of the matches for the G1 special in Long Beach. Not on the card.
Not on the card. He refuses to work it, right? And that's the
That's fair enough,
ultimate
though.
respect. No shit. It's the ultimate, because that's what I'm saying. He takes bookings, 1, out of respect to Vince, and 2, for his own personal brand.
Yeah.
And he understands competition.
He does.
Competition isn't negative.
Unless he's at sea. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count. No
He-
shit. International
He also
waters,
got
right?
the blessing from Vince to go over to New Japan as well
Yeah.
at the start of the year
Yeah,
and take on
I
Omega.
know. He did ask him, right?
Yeah. And
that's what I'm
Vince
saying.
said, go for your life.
Yeah. Because Vince is not an idiot when he's a businessman.
No.
And neither is Chris Jericho.
Vince knows he's always going to come back.
Yeah.
100%.
But competition is a great thing.
Hell yeah.
For companies on top, right?
Well, what made the Attitude so good? The Attitude Era so good?
Literally because you're competing against WCW.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
right?
It's not like it is because of the individual wrestlers involved on both sides, NWO, Stone Cold, Rock,
Yeah.
Triple H. But the reason that we got those storylines, the reason we got those characters the way they were was because of competition. So the bigger that New Japan gets, especially in the
That's
States,
great. That's what I'm saying. If
it
I'm
is the
Vince,
best thing.
Vince ain't sweating shit backstage where he's going, I genuinely believe.
Bye, Michael.
Oh, you're dipping?
Yeah, I've got to go.
Oh,
He's got to
unfortunately.
go.
Okay,
He's got to go to
alright.
work. All right, we love you.
Love you
Alright.
too.
See you next week.
And that's an
Same time.
absent.
Actually, I'll see you Monday for Money in the Bank.
Oh, true. Yeah. Bye, All right. Continue.
I can't remember what I was talking about.
Competition.
Competition?
Yeah,
What was I talking about?
competition.
Yeah, I was just
WWE.
talking about how, like, any good businessman, especially Vince, Vince ain't sitting there back in his fucking office going, I hate the fact that New Japan is picking up.
Yeah.
No, because if he's as good as, and for what he's done with this company to where he's gotten it, he damn well knows he needs competition.
Yeah.
So he's actually sitting there going, I'm loving what New Japan is doing because eventually I'm going to utilize that and then give you something that you've already
I mean,
wanted.
they've already even before like New Japan really picked up in the States. He recognized that because he went after Finn, and then a couple of years later he went after AJ,
Yeah.
Gallows, Anderson, and Shinsuke.
Yeah.
So he has understood it. I think for a while. I think a lot longer than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
Is that New Japan, whether it was him himself or whether it was like people going over there and coming back and saying, hey, Vince, check this out, he's still got to sign off on it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So he would have seen the work they've done over there and been like, okay, I'm going to bring these guys across because I think they've got
Yeah.
something. So he will have understood what New Japan represented, I think, a long time before people would have given him credit for. And the fact that he was so...
He halted them in the long run
yeah.
by taking guys like Shinsuke and Finn
Yeah.
Balor away.
But I mean that did free up the top of the card for guys like
Yeah,
for
but
guys
that's
like Naito
Yeah.
and Kenny to then be the guys that took those spots in the like.
But it's-
because New Japan has the big four. The big four is Kenny Okada, Naito, and Tanahashi.
I was going to say, but aside from those,
yeah,
when you really analyze New Japan,
yeah.
and you really analyze the star power, their star power does not translate into America, whereas the star
A
power
lot of
does.
it doesn't. No.
So you're only looking at the big four going, but even then, you're probably even only looking at an Omega, right? Because unfortunately, you got to look at the white guy, right?
Yeah.
They have star power to take over to America,
They do.
but they don't have the star power that they would have had, right? And that's where Vince McMahon saw it and said, I'm just going to cut you and take Finn Balor. And then AJ Styles just kind of came because AJ Styles always wanted to be in WWE,
Yeah.
right? So he was the man that was never going to carry New Japan for the longest run, but Finn Balor was. Finn Balor was poised as a guy that would stay in New Japan for a while.
Yeah.
Right? But then you look in the lower sections of New Japan, none of those guys are formally signed with New Japan. Right? Guys like Ospreay, he does indies, right?
Yeah.
He's on record for saying, I'm never going to sign to do the schedules of full-time like New Japan does and like what WWE does. He only just wants to pick his own dates and work.
Yeah.
Right? He's a great performer. Jay White's probably their next best, but he's not a star guy. Right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
If he has a really good run with that belt and does some really good,
But he
defenses-
hasn't, which has been interesting.
He's only had the belt for a couple of months though.
Yeah, but he's only defended it once.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's got the fight against Juice Robinson at Long Beach.
And he's not versed in many good people. He should have been on Dominion.
He was in a tag. That's the problem with like a lot of New Japan shows. They really rely on the multi-man.
really love
But like
the tag.
some of those multi-man tags are fucking fun, man.
They
Like
handle tags well.
Like they do, and the one on Dominion, Tanahashi, Jushin, and Ray versus Bullet Club. Great. Loved it.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You reckon?
It was just fun.
It was a good match in
Yeah.
terms of like,
And
you
it
weren't going to
was-
get a spectacle, but
It was crazy to see, like, this is Ray's debut at New Japan. He'd never been there before.
yeah.
Of all the places he'd been in the world, he'd never been in New Japan.
And he got to stand
Just
alongside
Tanahashi.
the
fuck-
Liger, dude.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He
true.
got to stand alongside Liger,
Yeah,
who I'd
like-
imagine he'd been watching for a very long
Yeah.
time.
Well, I think they worked together in WCW.
Oh, yeah, you reckon?
Jushin,
Because Jushin's been around for a long time.
dude, since nearly the 80s.
Yeah.
He's been around forever. But because WCW had the working relationship with New Japan back in the day, like in late 90s, I think, right before they folded. So Jushin did work with WCW, so I think they would have crossed paths. But it would have been a while since they've actually.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking today. I think we're going to move across. We're going to slowly get into Dominion talk in a minute. But can we just talk about E3 for a bit?
Oh, but dude, we're a fucking wrestling podcast.
No. Do you know what I'm going to fucking?
Yeah,
Kenny,
the Elite versus New Day.
the Elite versus the New Day. My fucking jaw when I saw a WWE press release include the words Kenny Omega, the Elite, the Young Bucks, 6 stars, the Cleaner, the Best Bout Machine, all in the same press release. My jaw was on the floor, man. I was just like,
haven't seen that
what
press
the
release,
fuck?
but I thought about it.
They've like officially like they called him the IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
Oh, did they?
Yes. In
Okay,
this
so
press
now
release.
this was what I was. No,
Yeah.
I didn't see the press release.
Yeah.
But I wanted to believe. Now, well, obviously, it's changed my thought, but fuck. WWE could have been very smart with this, and the reason why they called it the Elite versus New Day was because the Elite isn't owned by anyone, right? So they're
No, it's
legally.
it's theirs.
Yeah, so they're
So
copyright and legally allowed.
there was no mention of Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
But to go out their way and call him the IWGP Heavyweight Champion is acknowledgement. That's what I'm
Dude,
saying.
But they're dropping like the little like the subtle reference like 6 stars.
No, but that's
shit
them.
like that.
That's them respecting the man, but not the company, right?
Yeah,
and WWE would be very hesitant to respect the company.
Yeah.
And go New Japan star Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
They would have gone Kenny Omega,
I mean,
star of the Elite.
But they've dropped
right?
IWGP on TV.
But that's what I'm saying.
a fair
Like
bit.
they've gone out of their way now to.
This now takes me back to, and this was something that I saw Melter tweet out. Someone tweeted him. It's like, am I reading too much into WWE mentioning, you know, all this stuff in the official press release? Even Kathy Kelly did one of those WWE Now things,
Wow.
and it had like photos. I don't know if they probably weren't from New Japan because they can't use it, but I think they might have been from like PWG or maybe Evolve or something when they were wrestling there. But pictures of them on a WWE Now, like the YouTube channel.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But in terms of copyright, they'd be very cautious
Yeah.
to take stuff
100%.
from the bigger
But-
promotions of Ring of Honor and New Japan and
Yeah.
TNA, obviously. But in stuff like their lower indies, they're very much okay with
Yeah.
putting them over.
I mean,
because they're not direct competitive
Yeah.
to them.
Because like, remember when AJ came across, all the stuff they used of him was from all 5-Star Wrestling and I think Evolve or Progress. I can't remember which one.
Yeah.
But because they have working relationship with those companies, I want to take you back to, I think it was Takeover Brooklyn 2 years ago. Jushin Thunder Liger wrestled a match for WWE. Do you think? Now Meltzer said you're probably reading too much into it, but he said the next 9 months are going to be very interesting. I thought that was an interesting, like a weird time frame for him to mention. The next 9 months. That does take you through to the end of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks contract with New Japan as they currently stand.
It also takes you to Mania.
It does. All I'm saying is, do you think, is there the potential, or is there like, because the last 12 months, the way that the landscape of pro wrestling across the world has changed, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't think it will. But do you think there's a more potential now for like anything to happen with Kenny or the Bucks coming in as a one shot in WWE?
Yes. And here's where I come at this.
Yeah.
And this is me, we're obviously theory crafting.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
This is the beauty of a wrestling podcast.
This is 100% fantasy booking, people. We just want this to happen, but go ahead.
Chris
go.
Jericho
Yep.
would not have signed on to win the belt.
Yep.
If I don't believe in some kind of way that he must have tried to struck up a deal to get him to defend it one time on
Yeah.
a WWE card.
Yeah.
To have, but it'd be very particular, right?
Fuck, that'd be amazing.
Now, here's what I'm coming at. Chris Jericho's very smart. WWE is smarter. New Japan are not desperate, but my God, they would take the deal. if it were as simple as Chris Jericho going, I'll wear the belt.
Yep.
But let's get this booked on something like SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Now, I've take the IC belt, which isn't your main event card.
No, it's not.
It's not theirs.
No.
And you need to understand it's not going to be WWE's.
No.
Out of respect to WWE, it won't appear after WWE or Universal,
No.
but it can damn well appear in just before it.
Yeah.
If Chris Jericho were to get a one-off deal to have the IWGP IC title to appear mid-card on SummerSlam, that benefits literally everyone.
Yeah. It does.
Literally everyone. Right?
It does.
And now only Chris Jericho could do that. And I don't think they're ever going to let their world title appear on a WWE card. Right? So they won't have a Kenny Omega World Championship appear on WWE because it's not fair. New Japan will come out and going, this is a world title, it's main event.
Yep.
WWE going, you're New Japan, you're not main event. Right? You're not appearing after like 4 or 5 of our guys.
I'm sorry, WWE, but that title is worth more than fucking both,
Yeah, but
both your titles combined right now.
but the company's worth more than New Japan.
Yeah, it is.
All
Yeah.
right? So that's what I'm saying. IC belt is perfect.
It is.
To appear mid-card at a SummerSlam and get the hugest of rubs for it appearing on a WWE event.
Yeah.
And it works because we've all done the gimmick of, you know, back when TNA was a big thing, we all done the gimmick of if WWE had to verse TNA, how would it work? You'd have Taker versus Sting, you'd have John Cena versus AJ, you'd do this, and this. But then illogically it doesn't work because who books it and who goes over, right? But when a match like this comes over and you go, Chris Jericho is going to defend the IC belt, but against another New Japan guy, you're not worried about the finish of that match. Because the finish of that match only benefits New Japan. It's not a WWE guy going up against the New Japan guy, right? And that's where fantasy booking goes wrong because you can't book that realistically. No, not one side is giving up power to who finishes this match.
Yeah.
Right? But if you bring over a one-off championship belt to appear, and this is where I think the UK belt is very interesting.
It is
because it should circulate around the UK promotions, but work as the WWE belt, right? So then it's like we can give up that kind of power to have it booked in like a UK guy who only works Evolve win the belt.
Well,
right?
even they got Adam Cole defending the NXT United States belt in Evolve against Walter.
Yeah.
Like that's
that's brilliant. That's what I'm saying. That's where there are the fucking there's the sprinkles that are making this happen.
Yes.
All right? But this is what I'm saying. In my world,
fucking seeds.
in my perfect fantasy booking, I do not believe Chris Jericho signed on to win that belt. If it wasn't some point in his negotiations had said to both sides, I just want this belt to appear mid-card, and it's a New Japan title match. And you book it that way. You go, Chris Jericho, New Japan's, blah, 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 wants to defend this title here.
Yep.
And then that opens the floodgates for guys like their working relationship with the Elite. To do a once-off, you get the Young Bucks to come in versus New Day.
I just want to see that triple threat.
Right? New Day would go over because WWE would book it. But it's not to say that they don't get that rub.
Yep.
But how good's that Jericho book, though?
Yeah, yeah. I just think that the door is more open now than it ever has been. And after this weekend, after this past weekend,
a lot of people,
the
people I've talked to, they go, well, if TNA couldn't do it, what makes you think New Japan can do it? And I go, shut the fuck up. They're completely different in terms of New Japan is a proven company for a long tenure can stack up legitimately against WWE. TNA could never, as much as we put them like Michael puts them over and goes at one point TNA was better than they were never ever better than WWE.
No,
for starters, they were on the same turf, and you would have never have beaten them on the same turf.
No.
New Japan gets it over because they can beat them on international turf.
Yeah,
right, and they have the legitimate star power.
Yeah,
to get them to put side by side with WWE.
Yeah,
I can't remember a TNA match that put up 5 stars. And if
there's only ever been one.
And if they did, and if there's only ever been one, that's
none of those guys are currently in WWE.
Any big pay per view that comes out of New Japan, it averages 4 or above.
Yeah. Yeah. The door's never been more open. I think for anything for potential for that to happen, and I'm excited about that. Like that.
You're not a wrestling fan if you ain't excited.
Just the potential for something to happen, I think, is so fucking tantalizing. Fuck man, like in the last 2 years, New Japan has solidified itself as the second biggest promotion in the world.
Yeah,
bar none. Nothing.
Bar none.
Like Ring of Honor.
But that's to say that there is still a mile a mile of difference between them and WWE.
Oh,
right?
yeah, fuck yeah.
Like, we're not sitting here going, they're second, but it's a goddamn close second. It's like, no, don't insult WWE like that. WWE will never falter to second place.
No.
Meltzer's
Hell no.
goddamn said it. Like, everyone has gone on record and said it.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho, when he fucking won the belt, was just like, I can't
second
believe.
best promotion
Yeah,
in the
he's
world.
like, I can't believe I'm the champion, the second best promotion in the world.
Yeah.
A blatant put over
Yeah.
for WWE.
Yeah.
Right? No one is sitting here going, New Japan's going to beat WWE. No one is in their right mind is legitimately believing that
No.
because it will never happen.
But
right?
for like us, the smarks, the hardcores, whatever, it's starting to, I think, take over in our minds a little bit. Like,
But you're still going to goddamn tune in.
I know. I still
Like, that's
like the thing is, I still watched Raw and SmackDown this week, but fuck me, I was the same as Meltzer. I found it so hard to watch. I'm just like, man, I just watched fucking Best of Super
Yeah.
Juniors and Dominion, and now I'm watching fucking Raw where 8 people fucking are on ladders at the start of the show. And I'm just like, the fuck am I watching? Like, I still watched it though. I still watched
watched it.
all fucking
Still
3
watched
hours
it.
of Raw
It's not
and
to
2
say they
hours of
can't
SmackDown.
falter, but they will never fall.
No.
And WWE is smart enough to never fall because they'll look at that faltering now and then they'll literally just snap.
They
their
are
fingers.
100%.
And among the 100 things that they already have planned, they'll just go, all right, we'll just get that.
They are-
we'll
they
get
are-
that IC belt on this.
They
guy.
are a business, not a promotion. Whereas
Yeah.
every other company is
it's
a promotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference. All right. Can we just move on to Dominion now?
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Well, let's just do Raw and SmackDown now
Um,
and just fucking power through.
There
them.
was people on ladders. Braun Strowman said rah. The women got a decent length match for a change, and the Riot Squad are now NWO 2.0. Raw done. Oh, and Ronda Rousey armbarred Nia Jax, which means Nia Jax is probably going over on Money in the Bank.
SmackDown.
Daniel Bryan had a match. It was pretty good. Samoa Joe was there. Rusev won. I hate Big Cass.
All right, done.
Sweet. Moving on. Yeah, Dominion. Is this the best pay-per-view you've seen from top to bottom?
No.
No?
No.
I
Look.
find it so hard to like rack my brain.
Let me
and
just
go like.
I think we should always just preface this by saying, whilst we love it, the product in a vacuum
yeah,
of the pay per view, right? So
Yeah,
from
yeah.
start to finish, we love it as a product in a vacuum.
yeah,
And that's obviously when it comes to the big pay per views in New Japan, that's how they package it.
yeah,
Whereas WWE very much packages it not on the vacuum of the show, but on the 3 months and 3 months afterwards.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They go, this is a stepping stone in the ultimate thing. Whereas New Japan very much gives you the story of the day, right? And like,
It does.
it's not to say that there isn't, but that's not what we're in it for, though, right? And that's not what we should be in it for. Well, in terms of like, if we're just coming in and putting over the show, but not actually watching the weeklies they do and the little shows
Do they
that they do.
weeklies?
But I don't know. But that's what I'm saying.
Because they
personally-
do smaller shows. But the thing is, like, because I've got New Japan World now.
Yeah.
So I've been watching as much as I can in the lead up to this. Like, I saw Sakura Genesis, which set up Best of Super Juniors. I watched Best of Super Juniors, which set up the fucking junior heavyweight match at Dominion. So
Yeah.
I was invested in that story from Sakura Genesis all the way through Best of Super Juniors to Dominion.
Oh, okay, fair.
So, like, I, follow that. And then even, like,
Then I guess I'm just coming at it from maybe
You-
I'm not.
you
maybe
are-
I'm the minority or I'm the majority. I don't know.
You are, but I'm the same with NXT. I just come in and out for their takeovers. I rarely watch the weeklies unless someone's like, oh, there's a really good match on one
Exactly.
of the weeklies. I'm not going to watch them.
And that's how the product of NXT is positioned too.
Yeah.
It knows that
They
people
do a
only
good
come in
enough
and
job
watch.
with the promos.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They know that it's only we get the majority of our viewers on the one show.
Yeah.
Right. And New Japan, they know.
Yeah.
Right. Because they don't have Chris Jericho appearing on the weeklies.
No.
Right. They go, all right, we have him on the card, so we're going to do our best to give you the story that day.
Yeah.
And obviously some supplementing footage leading up to it.
Yeah.
But it's not like we knew that you were going to tune into the weekly show, right, or to the press conference that happened live. Right. It's like we know that. And that's what I'm coming at. Whilst I love New Japan in a vacuum, it's I can't consider it one of the greatest greatest pay-per-views because it just wouldn't do justice to say it only in a vacuum because it's not what it is. Because things will happen afterwards and things happen before it.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas WWE, I personally judge it not just on the night, but the preceding things before and subsequent things afterwards.
fair enough.
Right. So whilst
I
it
think
was a
from, like-
phenomenal pay-per-view,
Yeah.
the only story I really knew was the main event match.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's one of the ones that was clearly marketed for. The Dominion was like,
yeah.
it did very clearly as Okada Omega 4. We damn well know you're going to watch this. For the American crowd as well, it was Chris Jericho was appearing on the card.
Yep.
Right. But aside from that, the undercard was supplemented with the Young Bucks doing tag stuff, which we haven't seen that before.
Hey, man, look, this is them winning the heavyweight title for the first time.
Yeah, which
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a massive deal.
story that is huge in
Yeah.
New Japan for them as well.
Yeah.
But it's not a story that is they told you on the night, but it's not something that you knew beforehand or knew after. You're not going to watch after.
I've been following that for a while, though.
All right. But the majority ain't. Majority's got to see that.
Yeah, I know,
it's
I
a
know.
great match.
Yeah, I know.
But you're not going to subsequently follow the Young Bucks, their journey now with the World Division. Because the next time you tune in with the World Heavyweight tag titles, the next time you tune in, they'll probably drop it or they'll re-emphasize the fact that it happened. But it's not like people are going to be watching in between that, right?
Well, it seems like there's no real show. There's a couple of shows in between now and Long Beach, but the next time they're on TV and defend the titles is at Long Beach against Evil and Sonato again in a rematch.
Yeah.
From Dominion. So like, I think that's a good thing with New Japan because I don't know if they do like regular weeklies, but they do little shows in between the big shows.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're like a weekly proper thing. I think it's like whenever they can fit them in.
And that's probably to their benefit,
But
though.
they really do storytell pay-per-view to pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's the gimmick, right? And that's why that's great.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching a WWE pay-per-view, whilst ideally you want to tell the whole story on that pay-per-view, it just can't be done that way because it's just so much. It doesn't do it justice to watch a promo and know everything.
Yeah.
Right? So you are getting the best out of that pay-per-view when you know everything going in. But that's where that's what they target towards.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they stiff the product because they might have just tuned in for that one pay-per-view. But then you're left sitting there going, well, why is Miz laying claim to the Money in the Bank? Like, why is he so hot for? It's like, well, you've missed 3 weeks of footage where he's been pissed off with the New Day, right? Like, and he's been talking about all this on social media. They now rely on the preceding stuff to get it over. And they don't market themselves to the casuals who are coming in just for the once-off.
Yeah.
They do have matches that are for that, like Rousey's one, where it's very clearly she doesn't appear very often, and she doesn't do matches, and her story is very easily told in that one subsequent package.
Yeah.
Right? But then there are stuff like the Big Cass and Daniel Bryan pay-per-view match, where it's like, you got to know there's shit on SmackDown, and like their fight on Twitter where Daniel Bryan cut that promo on him, right? You are watching stuff like, we're definitely Shinsuke AJ, where it's like, you got to know the story from WrestleMania in order to properly get the impact of their match.
Why they're having a last man standing match now.
It's like, you're looking at that going, in a vacuum, match might be great, but not in a vacuum where you take in all the stuff, match might be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Whereas in New Japan, the match is going to be great regardless because that's how they have to package it.
Yeah.
Right? But maybe someone else who's watching New Japan gets it more than we do.
Well, that's
what I'm saying. I can't say it's the best pay-per-view because I don't know much of it.
Okay. For me, it was probably one of the best I've ever seen because like I know I've followed most of the.
I'm not
stories.
going to deny that the main event was the best match I've seen all time.
Yeah.
Right? In a vacuum,
But you know that story because.
But I know that story.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I know that story. That's
You've
one of the
known it
ones that
since
they very clearly
Wrestle Kingdom 2 years ago.
push down your throat and go, you need to know this.
Yeah.
Right? But all the other stuff isn't so much. When I watched the Young Bucks match, I can't remember if there was a promo package before it that showed their journey to becoming the heavyweights. You kind of just had to know it, right? In order to really get the feel of why they're versing Evil and Sonata.
Yeah.
Right? And the true impact of that match.
Yeah.
Might have been a great match. And for the New Japan people, it might have been even better.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just a great match.
It was.
Right? And I didn't get the full benefit of it. Yeah. And that's maybe that's on me, but also maybe I'm in the majority of that.
Yeah.
And the majority of people wouldn't have got that. Right? And if that's the case, then it's like, I can't realistically say this is the greatest pay-per-view of all time.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get the majority of us didn't get the full benefit because it wasn't what it was meant to be for us.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at.
That's like the longest way of saying no ever.
Yeah, no, I really had to justify it. Like,
No, that's fair enough. And like for me, I think it was like match quality wise.
yeah, but I'm not even just a match quality. I'm no way we just a match quality.
Yeah.
Match quality will always be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Match quality, you don't need to have story unless you're watching a Shawn Michaels match. It's like you don't really need to.
Yeah.
You can pick up the story that they need to tell in that ring, right? And aside from Kenny Omega and Okada, like their match quality is predicated on the story, right? And everything like that match was literally beat for beat what they needed to tell the story for.
It was,
and you would not have enjoyed that match if you did not know what had happened previously.
Yes.
Because a lot of their spots and why they got over was because of this shit that
If
they don't
you
do
tell someone,
before.
hey, come and watch a 65-minute wrestling match from Japan, they'd be like, what?
Yeah.
But all the stuff before it was really good. It's like, well, I need to see that.
But you needed to. You
Yeah.
needed to see that.
But yeah, okay. So like, I think the reason I loved it so much is because like I think I just got very fortunate that a lot of my favorite New Japan stars were the ones that were featured. Like, I started getting into New Japan right when Hiromu Takahashi came back from excursion.
Yeah.
So like, he came back, joined LIJ as the ticking time bomb right when I was starting to watch a lot of New Japan. I was like, that guy's cool. I like his shot. I like his jeans. I like his hair. And I like his moveset. So like, I was invested in him through this year's Best of Super Juniors because like, he was my guy. He was the guy I wanted to win Best of Super Juniors because like, I need to see him versus Will Ospreay at Dominion because that's the match that needs to happen because like, those two together are fucking amazing when they get going. So I was invested in that. He won best, like that. You not seen the Best Super Juniors final yet? Dude, there's one spot that like, it's hard to watch. So it's Ishimori, the new Bone Soldier, and Takahashi in the main event in the finals of Best Super Juniors. They go in to the fucking stands, and it's just like it's literally like the MCG is like concrete steps, right? Ishimori Dragon Ranas Takahashi onto the fucking concrete and then proceeds to roll down the fucking steps.
Oh, okay. Good moment.
Oh my! It was like one of the most brutal bumps ever. And then Ishimori like runs into the ring. Ref starts because they do the 20 count. But it's just like 1, 2, 3. Like it's really fast. Takahashi just gets in at 19 and a half. But yeah, it was. But that like Meltzer gave that 5 stars. And I know you love the Will Ospreay Takahashi match for the junior title. That Ishimori match is like the Best Super Juniors final is better. It's just better.
What do you reckon wins spot of the night for Dominion? Because just speaking on that Ospreay match, dude, it's low key.
Off the ramp?
No, that's not my spot of the night.
Oh, dude.
It's low. It's the lowest of key spot of the night for me.
Okay.
Like so low key. It's the reversal Will Ospreay does. He's like mid move or something, and he's twirling Takahashi. Like Takahashi's twirling him.
Yeah.
And his shoulder is on his gut, right?
Yeah.
Takahashi's vertical, bro.
Yeah.
Right? And Ospreay's like spinning, and then he pushes off mid-spin from about abdominal height.
Yeah.
Pushes off with his shoulders and complete reverse and stands upright.
Yep.
Mid-spin.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. It's hard to describe. Dude, it's
just
the lowest of keys, and it just was so smooth from Will Ospreay. It was just so smooth.
Actually, aside from the jump off the ramp, which he flew like 10 feet.
Yeah, dude, he got some distance, man.
Like he has springs for shins. I swear to God. No, in fact, it was he went for the Oz cutter, and Takahashi just catches him into a German suplex.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. But yeah, Takahashi going over. I love that kid, man. Like he's unreal. He has that fucking crazy eyes.
Yeah. He'll do well with the belt. He'll do well with the belt.
He had it last year and lost it to Kushida.
It's just unfortunate how Ospreay books himself because he'll never hold the belt for any longer than he needs to.
He's having a break apparently, which he needs.
Yeah, no shit. That's what I'm saying. Like but that's how Ospreay books his matches, though.
Yeah,
he's not a guy that's going to hold the belt for an extended period of time.
No,
he's there as a
that's
gimmick.
Like everyone was thinking like he's gonna like really hold on to it this time and actually have like a decent like long run with it. Because like no one's had a really long run with that belt for a while. And some
Taka would do it now. He's got a bit back into him.
Yeah, man. Like
but New Japan gets the credit in that route because they normally have guys. Aside from they don't book Naito very well,
which sucks, man.
From what I know, because I like Naito.
He's my favorite. Like I know that like Okada and Omega are better wrestlers.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Of that, like the hot 4 right now of Tanahashi, Naito, Okada, and Omega, Naito's my favorite. I was pulling for him so hard at Wrestle Kingdom. I really wanted him to get the win, and I was so shattered when he didn't. But that's the thing with New Japan is initial title, like first title runs, are usually short and not that great. But you get in that second title run, like Okada's first title run was okay. Wasn't great. Few good matches, but this is back in like 2011 or 13 when he won it the first time, I think. This time around, I think second or third title run, they nailed it. And the same with like Takahashi's first title run.
He's 4 reigns in Okada.
4 reigns.
He's 4 reigns. That's what I'm saying. No, but all of them have been over 100 days.
Yeah. But like those first ones seem to be like just trial runs of like, okay, same with Naito. Naito had the belt a couple of years ago. I think Okada. No, I think he lost.
Naito's longest is only like 70 days, dude. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. They don't book Naito very well.
Yeah, but I
Comparatively
think-
to
I
how they
think-
book their other
I
champions.
think his next title reign, the next time he gets the belt, which I think he's gonna be the one to win it off Kenny, is gonna be huge.
yeah.
It's gonna be his big one.
How are we
But that's
booking
why I'm
Kenny
like,
going forward?
Okada 2.0.
So you reckon his reign goes over 300 days at least?
I reckon he holds it for more than a year. I think it's gonna be not this Wrestle Kingdom, next Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay.
I think Naito wins it. Or, actually, everyone was saying once Kenny won, G1 Climax winner this year.
Yeah, and I reckon it's Kota.
Yeah, Kota Ibushi.
Kota wins it, and you get Golden Lovers at Wrestle Kingdom.
Dude,
I think
if
he
that,
beats him, right? Because that's
yeah,
the culmination of the story.
Yeah.
Has he ever beaten Kota Ibushi?
I don't know if he's ever beaten him one-on-one.
I don't think he has, right? Because
No.
that's the story. He's always been blessed at a Kota Ibushi in the ring.
Yeah.
And now...
And you can tell that, like, friends going against each other's story pretty well with those two.
Yeah.
Um,
They don't need to turn heel and face with
No,
that
they
either.
don't.
It just needs to be a respect fight.
Dude.
You get a goddamn fucking showing, and then you shake hands.
legit, if Kota Ibushi wins the G1, I'm booking us 3 tickets to Japan, man. We've got to be there for that.
I'm holding you to that.
Yeah, dude.
As a lawyer in training,
I am my hand on any Bibles, man. But no, man, like we got to be there for that. That's
that'd be a
fucking
hell of
incredible.
a fucking
Yeah,
match.
fuck yeah.
I reckon Chris holds it to Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he's
Yeah.
he's probably gonna show up at.
You'll probably do 2 other shows.
Yeah. I mean, what are they got? What are their other big shows?
Do they not do a title match at G1? Or is that just the tournament?
It's just a tournament, but they might because like it's same with like the G1 final. It's like it's the only match on the night that's the G1 is like the finale, but they have like a bunch of matches leading up to that.
Yeah.
So like, they have like I think 6 matches on the card for the Best Super Juniors final. But they were like mixed tags and whatever, or like tag matches. But he might show up for like G1 final or something else. I know there is one more big show before the end of the year. It's like their Survivor Series kind of thing.
Yep.
So he'll probably show up for that. But then
I reckon he has one successful title defense and then drops the Kingdom.
Yeah, that usually builds towards around. Who takes it off him?
Tanahashi.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to see that match actually. That'd
Tanahashi.
be really good.
I think Chris Jericho's also signed on to be able to work with the good guys, and
Yeah.
he's now worked with Okada.
Yeah.
No, not Okada. He's worked with Omega, and he's worked with Naito.
Naito, yeah.
I would not be afraid. I would not put it past Okada to go and fight for the IC.
Fuck, that match would be amazing.
I reckon, but you don't.
Oh.
Okada. We're all talking about how we booking Kenny Omega. Okada is the fragile one here, right? So he's just come after dropping after 720 days.
No,
he ain't taking another loss
No.
afterwards.
He's
so whoever he fights next is a W for him.
he's gonna fucking bounce back.
Right? Yeah, he bounces back
has to
immediately.
bounce back.
He doesn't go on a lose streak. He doesn't look
like,
weak.
He's still the ace.
Yeah.
He's still the ace of the company.
So whoever he takes on next is they're doing the job to him.
I would love to see a Kenny Omega. A Jericho feud with him.
Yeah, but then the Okada goes over very
Because like
easily.
I know you've got your issues with Jericho at the moment, but the person to take Jericho to his whatever his limit is these days with like age and injuries and all that sort of stuff, Okada is the guy to take him to that limit. And maybe,
yeah, because he works a better
maybe
match than Naito.
push it a little bit.
He works a better match than Naito.
He does.
Because Naito kind of works a similar flow to Jericho.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't
Dude,
I didn't like
that's the
that
thing.
match.
The reason I love Naito is all character.
That's
all,
the thing.
He's all
But so is
charisma.
Jericho.
Yeah.
Right? And it's
Yeah.
like when you put those two together, you know you're going to get a feud, but you're not going to get a match. Right?
I still,
and it
like,
was a
I still
bit,
like the match.
Nah.
I did.
I didn't. All right.
Fucking
But
Meltzer gave it like 4 and
4.25.
4.25.
And I thought that was a bit high.
yeah.
I thought it was a 4 at best. But hold on. Like, this is what I'm saying. Because they work such a similar flow in Jericho, it's a bit blasphemous, but he is in his later stages of his career.
He is.
Age does win in the end.
Yeah.
He's starting to slow down. He could still do the lion salt, but that's probably about the extent of his athleticism.
Yeah. But
right?
like, I mean,
But if you work another guy who doesn't work the same flow as you,
Well, I mean-
someone like an Omega who did carry that match,
he did.
right? And then you put him someone against Okada who very well has a different style, and it's not high flying like Omega's, but he works a different flow than what Naito does,
Yeah.
and which is not the same flow as Jericho.
Well, I mean-
you let Okada call that match, and you get a good match out of Jericho in that.
Well, you look at
Because Jericho can still sell.
Yeah.
It's not he can't do the moves, he can still sell.
Yeah.
And selling is what, when you work against someone like Okada, you just need to sell for the guy.
Yeah.
All right. And then he needs to sell for you. All right.
like you look at the variety of like, and that's the thing with like, I know we're talking about Omega, but Okada, this reign is legendary. This
No
is a
shit. It goes down
fucking
as...
legendary reign, like one of the best. Like it blows most of Tanahashi's reigns out of the water.
Yeah.
Like, and he had some fucking good reigns, some fucking good matches, but this and it's the variety of opponents. And I think the best comparison, I think, with a Jericho Okada match would be Okada's match against Minoru Suzuki, because Minoru Suzuki, older guy, brawler, can't do the high flying stuff, but he can, fucking.
But he works proper stiff.
He works stiff as fuck.
Works proper.
And Jericho's
stiff,
been working really stiff now that he's gone to Japan.
Yeah.
So I think if you want a rough idea of what that match could possibly be,
I'd call Suzuki up to fight Jericho then.
two old grizzled bastards fucking beating the shit out of each other.
Oh, you know what? Book it. Book it.
Yeah,
oh,
that's the thing.
I'm done. There it is. I want that match.
Naito,
You get the vets on each other like that,
Yeah.
just fucking working stiff on the chops. Yeah.
Because Naito took the belt off Suzuki. And then Jericho took the belt off Naito, so Suzuki could be coming around that like fucking each person takes the belt off each other sort of thing.
I know they don't like doing it.
Triple
work,
threats,
but
yeah.
work a triple threat.
Yeah,
Work
they
a
did one
threat.
for the open weight. I didn't actually watch the match. The open weight title, Elgin versus who had it? I can't remember. But Elgin went over. Good on him. Actually, there's a lot of white people won. Fucking
Dude, I'm calling him a shot now. I
Yeah.
want Suzuki versus Jericho.
yeah, Minoru Suzuki versus Jericho would be fucking sick. Anyway, but I love that junior heavyweight title match was fucking awesome. So many good spots. Love Hiromu getting the win. Crowd was so fucking hot for him too. Like they really wanted him to win that. So I was fucking stoked with that. Jericho, loved the match. Young Bucks. 12 months ago, the Bucks copped a shit ton of flack for not being able to wrestle like a cerebral, like storyline driven match. It was just like super kick, Indy taker.
Yeah, they're very gimmicky.
They are. But in the last 12 months, especially like working those like injuries into their matches a lot, like that storyline injury with like Matt's back. The series of matches they had with Roppongi 3K and like with Sho and Yo and now with like Evil and Sonata, they've done such a good job of turning their style around to, okay, we can do all the flashy stuff, we can do all the high flying flips and whatever, but when called upon, we can tell a really, really good story. And we can like, we can show that we can sell and we can craft a story that isn't just, hey, look at us super kicking everybody. We can show you how to put on a really cerebral tag team match. And they're getting better and better at it every time they go out there, especially against better opponents. Like you had Sho and Yo as Roppongi 3K. Now you've gone up to Evil and Sonata, who are two really fucking good wrestlers. And you had like the story with Matt's back, fucking Nick's foot. I loved it, man. I thought it was a fucking great match. And the Bucks are showing that they have that versatility. They can either go to PWG and do all the fun stuff, but they can come to New Japan and be like, all right, we're going to put on a story. And I love the way that they've sort of like changed their style a bit over the last 12 months and been like, fuck you to anyone that says we can't wrestle this style.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because that was always their biggest piece of criticism towards them.
it was.
It's like, and that's where it might, I got the hype of the Young Bucks, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't get how they were so hype, right? In terms of like,
a lot
I
of
knew who they were, and I knew
Yeah.
they were over because of their social media presence, and they're very smart.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But in terms of in ring, they very much perform the same kind of match every single time.
Yeah.
It's like we're not looking at. Personally, I wasn't looking at these guys going, "Oh, they're over because they're really good performers."
Yeah.
Right? Because I
No,
never
they're
saw
really
that.
they're really good performers,
Oh, okay, yeah.
but
all right.
they weren't the best wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, from what you're just saying, because I watched the Dominion match, and it very much was a story-driven match.
Yeah.
They're very much selling
Yeah.
for the story.
Yeah.
Right? And that was different because I've watched them do fucking gimmick shows.
Dude.
when they came down here and did World Series,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, you watch all that, and you kind of like they
But
play
that, like,
the crowd. But they're a gimmick.
Yeah,
They're
but
a gimmick.
They built their legend out of PWG, and everyone wants to see those PWG style matches, which is just them hitting every fucking move in the book, 1,000 super kicks a match. Like that's the style of match that got them attention in the first place. But now that they've actually got that attention, they're like, okay, let's show you what we can really do. Aside from fucking running the internet with being the elite, being the merch kings of fucking indie wrestling, they can go out there and put on a match that you get emotionally invested in. I think that was like the last piece of the puzzle to really cement these guys. I think they're the best tag team in the world, 100%. In every aspect of what makes a professional wrestler in 2018, they're the best. There's no one else out there. At least in my opinion. Stop texting.
Oh, honestly, just no. Legitimately, just putting over the Suzuki Jericho match.
Oh, okay, right.
Right. I genuinely want to see that.
Yeah.
Dude, two grizzled vets just fucking chopping each other.
I know.
I would honestly it would hide Jericho's flaws, right? But in a great way.
Oh, yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
you just get these two in the ring and just chop each other.
Yeah.
Just let them chop each other, let the welts show up on their chest, and you just
man.
get these fucking grizzled guys they hate, like they're the vets. They're like, I'm the pinnacle of American wrestling. You're the pinnacle of Japanese wrestling. Strong style versus strong style. You can fuck with me, Chris Jericho, and Suzuki's saying the exact same thing, but in Japanese. And it's just these fucking two cunts coming out here and chopping each other and throwing each other through tables like two very pissed off wrestling vets.
Oh, the poor young boys at ringside. They're gonna get their asses kicked.
Oh, that's a fucking show. That's a fucking show.
Yeah, no,
And Suzuki, to all his credit, he's got a fucking gimmick too.
Yeah, he does.
He can sell character.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it has to happen. Has to be the fucking
dude. I'm hyped for that.
Yeah.
I'm hyped for that.
Yeah.
Do you want to call it here?
We got a little bit of time left. Can we just talk about the main event?
All right, let's go.
Yeah.
I have no words.
Yeah, there's not much really left to say that hasn't been
So-
said. 7 stars from Meltzer. It is just
Actually, you know what? I'll finish on a shoot. I was having this conversation this morning with one of my mates, and we're talking about how it's a 7-star match, right? And we go, yeah, it's great.
yeah.
But-
the 7 stars is one man's opinion. It's not the consensus. of the
Yeah,
entire
and that's where the
wrestling-
shoot's coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
Is we're at a point now when we're watching wrestling and we're going, we're very much attuned to the 5-star criteria now.
Yeah.
And we're going, I can't enjoy a match unless it hits a 3 or 3.5 star. Right. And you're going, I can't wait to see what Meltzer's opinion is because he's become that standard now.
I think he understood that the rating system as it was, it got a bit stale. And
Yeah.
to shake it up a bit,
But-
he threw in that 6-star at Dominion. Sorry,
Yeah.
at Wrestle Kingdom a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that has it has reinvigorated people's interest in the star system.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh wait, the system can be broken. How far can it actually be broken? What can we actually get out of this?
Shouldn't be about that.
No, it shouldn't.
We're looking at that and
I
going,
wasn't going into that match being like, I hope this is fucking 7 stars. I was just like, I hope this outdoes the previous 3 matches.
I agree.
That were fucking phenomenal.
but I'm not going to lie to myself and say that I wasn't looking at that and going,
No, but like
this is something that's going to be fucking 7 to 10 stars.
The minute the match was over, I was like, okay, now I'm interested to see what Meltzer says. But,
Yeah.
but going into it, I didn't want to have that weighing on my mind. It's like, oh, this is going to be a 7.
Fair, we're different wrestling fans, but objectively, I can understand the flaw of myself.
Yeah,
right? And it's a flaw of a lot of people because I was talking to one of my mates, and it's just like because wrestling, so many different avenues, right? Because you got so many different people clinging to different people, different guys, and that's what the beauty of wrestling is that it's not a product for one person; it's a product for everyone in a weird way.
Yeah.
But you can't juggle that.
Yeah.
And to have one guy's opinion like that take over such a precedence, to go,
It is a very educated opinion, though.
it's very, and that's what I counter and I go, it is very educated. It should serve as a basis for you to objectively watch the match and go, this was given 7 stars. It must objectively be very good of a match. I'll go and watch it, but then walk away with something else, right?
Yeah.
But but it also works in the reverse because if Dave Meltzer comes out and says that something that Seth Rollins does is only worth 3 stars,
Yeah.
but it's very much just that vacuum of that match, whereas it's like that's not what that match is about.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like you can watch that and I can still walk away from a Seth Rollins match and go, that's 4 stars in my mind, and go, that's a really great match. Same thing with a Finn Balor and a Braun Strowman showing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where the star system goes to fall, is that it is very much just one man's very educated opinion. It's not to say that the 7 stars wasn't 7 stars and that a 2-star wasn't a 2-star. It's just saying that you should now use this as a basis, right? But it's not, I'm not trying to stiff the main event.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that we can't use that 7-star and then now watch Money in the Bank and go, this is fucking absolutely atrocious.
No,
It just wouldn't
no,
be fair.
No.
Right?
And there is like that I'm not going to call it a bias of Meltzer, but it is pretty obvious sometimes that like he loves New Japan.
Yeah.
He is very much, and he's been championing it for years.
Yeah.
Before it even got like popular in the States, he was always about New Japan. So he does like to shine a spotlight, shall we say, on New Japan. And I think he's one of the like that 6 stars at Wrestle Kingdom 2 years ago moved so many eyes in America across to that product.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wait,
But he has a power to him.
you can
right? And
break
because he
that
has
system.
a power to him and he has chosen to break that system, therefore ergo breaking his power,
Yeah.
right? It's an abuse of power.
Yeah.
Like, it's not to say that it's a punishment and an indictment on WWE that no one of them have gotten anything over a 5-star.
Yeah.
Right? It more or less should be looked at as a benefit for New Japan and going, they're actually that good that he kind of like, but in terms of breaking it, did we honestly look at that 5, what was it? Did he break it with a 6-star first? Or did he break it with a 5.25?
No, it was a 6-star match.
So he broke it with a 6-star match.
Yeah.
Are we really looking at that and going, was that honestly something that needed to be broken? Could it not have just been received a 5?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
But I think it was a case of like, all right, that was a phenomenal match.
yeah.
And the problem with the star system, like 5 stars.
The problem with it now is
is
that
if
every
you
time
call
a Omega goes
something-
out there, it's 5 or more.
Yeah.
It's
But
no
if,
longer
if you
anything
call
else.
something 5 stars, and then something comes along that is objectively better, what do you do?
Yeah. Well, that's just the problem that he's worked himself into.
Yeah.
And his cure to that problem seems to be just to break it.
Yeah.
Right?
But in that, it helps himself, but it also helps wrestling in general as well.
It does, but it's an abuse of power on the long term.
Yeah.
Because
But, I mean,
we are
he's-
now looking at that going,
he's earned that right, I think.
oh, yeah, debatable. But
Like 40 years of covering professional wrestling, he's seen more matches than we will ever see in probably the rest of our lifetime because he watches everything. He goes to everything. He respects the craft. There is no doubt that he respects the craft. And I think after all these years, he's earned the fact that he can be like, all right, this is my star system. It's my opinion. People have latched on meaning.
he's
to
very smart in the sense that he does say it's just his opinion, right?
Yeah,
and
it's
that'll always protect him.
Yeah.
It'll always protect him in the long run because he just
Yeah.
goes, it's my opinion.
It's one man's opinion.
Like, unless it comes out
Yeah.
like in some fucking weird way that he's on the books for New Japan,
No, I don't
right?
think
Because then that's a very clear abuse of power and off stature.
Yeah.
But unless he's just at the end of the day, it's my opinion, but behind the scenes, he's just like, I like the business of New Japan more than I like WWE because WWE might have stiffed him. Because that's how wrestling works, though. And it's weird like that.
That's true. That's true.
It's weird like that because people who stiff WWE, they get shunned by WWE,
Yeah.
right? And then at that point, it's like, you know, you've disregarded the objectivity of that person.
Yeah.
Right. And WWE is not afraid to do that. And then vice versa, people who have been stiffed by WWE are not afraid to stiff them back
Yeah, yeah.
on personal bias. So it's not hard for us to be able to maybe draw a paper trail to where someone in WWE stiffed Meltzer and then Meltzer's just gone out of his way, never publicly, but very much obviously, to go out and say, I'm not going to give any of these guys over a 4 out of just like spite.
Yeah.
But I'll cover it in honest opinion.
I don't think that's the case, but I mean,
But
he
it's
gave 2 NXT matches 5 stars this past takeover. So
Yeah.
anyway, but I think like there's, I mean, we could talk for another hour about that fucking main event, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
I the only thing I would change is fuck Kenny relies on that V trigger.
I love it.
Oh, I do as well. It's a fucking bit
Love
like
it. Because
it does-
whilst relying on it, he doesn't have to hit the one winged angel every 5 seconds.
That's a good point. But it is like I would like him like maybe have another like setup move that isn't the V trigger. Like,
Yeah, fair.
Save it for like that because he does it where he, like the ripcord one where he pulls them back in and then hits it. I love the one against the rope where like they're draped over the bottom rope and he hits them in the back, like that back of the head one before that final one winged angel.
Yeah.
Just looked fucking
I
brutal.
know.
Like it
Kevin,
hurt.
he knows how to work.
It
man.
hurt me to watch that.
Yeah.
So that's my like
These two know how to
that's
work,
like
man.
that's like the nittiest of nitpicks. When I'm trying to find something that maybe I don't like about it, but for the most part,
I guess going forward, we'll now definitively have the answer of between these two guys, who really is the bout machine there. Because if Omega goes out and has another 5-star and Okada goes out and probably puts on a 4-star, I guess we have our answer of...
I mean, I guess we do, but at the end of the day,
have
I
our
don't
answer.
fucking care. I'm going to watch every match these guys have going for because
Oh, no
they're,
shit. No
they're,
shit.
they're the two best in
Yeah,
the world.
they're
right
the two
now.
best in the world.
And it's the
But-
same. It's the same with like WWE being at the top and the New Japan. There's a big gap, but they're still number 2. Right now, it's those two, and there's a big gap to whoever's next
Oh, yeah.
because they
Who would we call third? Ring of Honor?
No, like as in like Okada Omega.
Oh, okay.
Are like
okay.
1 and 2.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a gap before number 3.
Yeah.
And I think right now that number 3 is probably Seth Rollins.
Oh, wait, we're talking just in general.
Just in wrestlers.
Wrestling or their draw?
Just
Everything. Are we encompassing everything?
encompassing everything. Like someone who
Still
you
think
want to
Brock
watch.
Lesnar is. He's at least third.
I'd fight you on that, but we got like a minute before we
Yeah.
wrap up. So
He's at least third.
okay. But yeah, so yeah, that match was phenomenal. Just go watch it. Like I mean, there's like you said, there is no words. It was perfection. It was amazing.
There's no words, bro.
And just go and watch it, please. Anyway, that's it for the podcast this week. So you can follow us, Australiamania, Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTubes and Facebook as well. Australiamania Podcast on Facebook. Predictions for Money in the Bank should be up either when this is live or not long after. I think we do predictions for both Money in the Bank and for TakeOver Chicago as well in that. So check that out. What else? You follow me, Ricky Needs, RICKINEEDS, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. David?
It's just Instagram. _ Yankong.
Plug in the
YANGKONG.
plug in the gram.
Yeah, bro.
And yeah, fucking Michael, Tomo Media, THOMOMEDIA. Follow him there. He'll be back next week. We'll be back next week. Check out the YouTube for the predictions and enjoy Money in the Bank. And go back and watch Okada Omega because it's fucking awesome. All right. See you next week.